My name is Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. And when I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So if you too are potty for Pluto, then this is the podcast for you. Or maybe you're the Disney novice just thinking about or maybe planning your first ever trip to Walt Disney World and you thought that Toontown was, well, near Newcastle up in the northeast. Well, then this really is the podcast for you. Each episode, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans from around the UK to share their memories and their magical times. And this week, we catch up with Laura to find out what her family's favourite attraction is.
Just makes me laugh out loud every time I go on it. It's just full of happy memories. It's a favourite with the family. We all love it. We always go on it as many times as we possibly can.
We'll find out what that is very soon. Also answering more of your Walt Disney World questions, getting the latest news from the parks and all the top tips, everything you need to know to have the most magical time on the most magical place on earth. And make sure you keep in touch. Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We are at PodMagical. This is the most magical podcast on earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network on the day that the UK Disney sailings went on sale. Did you get yours? Did you get the cabin? Are you going? Or good luck if you're trying to book while you're listening to this. Also, it's the day that the original Disneyland in California reopens its doors after over a year of being closed, which is brilliant and somewhere I want to go back to very soon and love the California parks. And also, I must say happy birthday to Natasha Rooney. Happy birthday, Natasha Rooney. She loves the podcast and she will be going to Walt Disney World next August. Hello to Matt, who sent me a message, said, please say hello to it. She loves the podcast and it's her birthday and she is 45. She's 45. Looking forward to going to Walt Disney World next August. She spent most of last year planning it and probably will be doing the same. Happy birthday, Natasha. I hope it lives up to your dreams. I'm sure it will be. And I'm glad you love the podcast. Don't forget, if you want to send a message for anything, whether it's questions or maybe you want to tell somebody that they're going to Walt Disney World. I quite often ask, how is a good way to tell the kids they're going to Disney World? How about you don't tell them, you let me know, and I announce it to them on the podcast. You're going to Disney World. I'm happy to do that for you. You can get in touch anytime. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PodMagical is where we are. Just send me a direct message. Same place to go to be a podcast guest like this week's guest, Laura. So, Laura, I will give you the question that we always ask everybody. Why do you love Walt Disney World?
And I'll probably give you a very similar answer to most people. It's total escape from reality. I just love everything about it. The magic, the food.
The food.
Yeah, the food. Very much the food. And I just have so many happy memories there. And it's one of them places you just feel like you're going home every time you go. I just love it. I
can't wait to find out more about your favourite restaurants soon. But let's come back to those happy memories. Yeah. Let's talk about those happy memories. Have you got any particular favourites?
I have a really, really strong memory from when I was a kid when they used to have the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playground.
MGM Studios.
Yes, and I spent hours there. My poor parents spent a fortune for us to go to Florida, and I spent hours just crawling around with the giant ants in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playground, and I remember that all the time. Another one I remember is it's a bit embarrassing, I used to wear a Peter Andre headband when I was...
That is embarrassing.
But when I went, it was when the characters used to sort of wander around and you just sort of bump into them sometimes, and yeah. I met Alice in Wonderland and she was like, oh, your headband says Peter. And I was like, yeah. And then she was like Peter Pan. And she dragged me across and dragged me over to meet Peter Pan. And she was like, she's got a headband with your name on. And I must have been like 10 or something at the time. And it was amazing. I wouldn't wear a Peter Andre headband now, but at the time I thought I was really cool. And it got me a lot of attention from the characters. And I've always remembered that. And it was amazing as a kid to be swept off by one of the characters to meet someone else.
Laura, do you have a picture of you at Walt Disney World in your Peter Andre headband?
I think I probably do somewhere. I'll have to check at my parents' house, but I'm pretty sure there'll be evidence.
Because we need to see that on our socials. Yeah. We definitely need to see that.
Oh, great. I shouldn't have mentioned it.
Too late now. So it sounds like you've been going to Walt Disney World for quite a long time since you were very young.
Yes, we've been a few times.
So when was the first time? How old were you?
The first time was, I think it was in 1995. So I was 6.
So you've been going since the 90s?
Yes. So I don't remember all that much from that trip. That was probably the trip I was playing in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playground a lot. And then I've been 6 times in total. So the last time was 2019. But we went a few times when I was a kid, and then when I was a teenager, and then as an adult as well.
Even when you were going as a teenager, were you pretty cool with it? Did you still enjoy it and going, yeah, I'm loving this, I'm going to Walt Disney World?
I never turned into the teenager that wasn't interested. I was always up for a trip to Disney World.
Yes!
I have an older sister. She's 9 years older than me, so she grew out of family holidays. So my best friend came with me when I was a teenager, because she used to go with her family all the time. So we went twice together. So she was my sister then.
Yeah, she dropped on really good, saying your sister didn't want to go, which is bizarre.
Yeah,
I always like to find out, actually, people who've been going for a long time, especially since you went to the mid-90s, anything that they no longer have that you miss? Obviously, the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playground at MGM Studios.
I miss it being called MGM Studios. I kind of miss the alien encounter.
That eventually became the Stitch attraction.
Yeah, I'd like to try it now, when I wouldn't be as utterly terrified as I was as a kid.
Yeah.
I think I ended up just putting my feet up on the seat and my hands over my ears and crying when I was a child. But I think now I would really enjoy it. Take me to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But I was also absolutely petrified of Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, so I was a bit of a wimp.
My mum used to be terrified of Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Well, the massive snake was terrifying.
I think it was the massive 20-foot snake on the screen.
Yeah, and there's a memory I also have of standing outside and waiting for my family to do it so that they didn't miss out. Because I was scared. They were like, well, you can wait outside. And I was like, thank you.
Stood outside on your own.
Yeah, they're like, well, if you're too scared, then that's fine. You can wait for us. I don't think that's probably not allowed now, but...
It probably is.
Yeah.
Stand outside with the Dole Whip.
Yeah, you just stand there, look after the bags, we'll be back.
So what about favourite things now? Any particular rides, attractions, shows that you love now?
Yes, my absolute favourite is Tower of Terror. I just love the theme, the ride. It's always a little bit different, the ride, but it just makes me laugh out loud every time I go on it. It's just full of happy memories. It's a favourite with the family. We all love it. We always go on it as many times as we possibly can. I just think it's brilliant, and I love the spooky theme. I also like a special shout out to Splash Mountain is another of our favourites.
Yeah, family favourite.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing the
overlay.
Overlay, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I was quite sad that it's changing, but I think it's time for it to change. I think the new one will be good.
They've not even started working on the new one yet, so
no,
it might be one.
I'm kind of hoping next time I go, maybe it'll still not have changed.
Have you got a trip planned? You say next time you go? Are you going to be going soon?
I don't have one planned, no, but I'm hoping to go in the next year or two, so maybe 2022, maybe.
See what happens. See what Boris says we can do.
Yeah, and I'm on the Isle of Man, so I have another border to cross as well before I even come to the UK, so we have to isolate even if we come to the UK currently. So
right, so being in the Isle of Man, how do you get to Orlando? Do you fly like to Manchester and then from Manchester direct, or do you fly to Ireland and then...
We would usually go to Manchester or Gatwick. So I know if you go via Ireland you can do customs first, but we've never bothered. There's a lot more availability for us to fly to Manchester than there is to Ireland. Flights quite often get cancelled from the Isle of Man, so having as many possible options is always a good thing. The weather is a bit unpredictable, so there's quite often morning fog and flights get delayed, so if you don't have another option in the afternoon, it can be quite frustrating. I
was going to ask if you would be doing the UK Disney cruises this year, but on the Isle of Man you wouldn't be allowed to, would you?
I would be able to, I think now, but I would have to isolate for 2 weeks when I come back.
Oh, it's not worth it for 2 nights on a boat, is it?
No, not really.
When you go to Walt Disney World, do you stay on property or do you stay off?
No, we've never stayed on property, actually. We've stayed in villas, and then my parents had a timeshare that we would stay, so we stayed at Orange Lake a few times. And then on my last trip that I did, it was just my husband and I, we stayed in the... Which one was it that we stayed in? I think it was the Holiday Inn by Lake Disney Springs, so it's in the resort area, so you get the perks. So we got like 60-day fast pass and buses and that sort of thing. So we stayed there, and I found that really good, actually.
Is that quite cheap or reasonable?
Yeah, it was. I think it was about £80 a night.
That's really good. And do they put transport on to get you to and from the parks as well?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. I don't know if that's still a thing, but it was a thing when we did it, and it was really good, and it kind of made me think, maybe I would like to stay on site. because we've always had a car, and the past few times since I've been old enough to drive, I've driven when we've gone, even on family holidays, and I quite enjoy driving, but being able to just get the bus and then just have a drink if I want to, and now, like, we just used Uber and Lyft. I just kind of feel like we didn't need a car at all once we were in Orlando.
I suppose as well, if you're staying at Disney Springs, once you've left the parks, once you've left the Disney park, you can get the bus to Disney Springs and then either walk back to your hotel or maybe have a few drinks or food at Disney Springs, I suppose. Yeah,
and because we've always stayed off-site, we quite often eat on like the 192 and go to Miller's and Longhorn, and I love Bahama Breeze, so we got Ubers a few times to go to those restaurants, which are a little bit further away, but not far. I think it was about $8 in an Uber to go to.
But they're
those
quite
places.
cheap once you get to those restaurants. They're pretty cheap, aren't they?
Yeah, and you get a lot of food.
Well, compared to Disney.
Yeah, compared to
Disney.
Disney.
A lot of food.
Yeah.
We'll chat some more with you, Laura, very soon. Let's get a quick update on what's been going on in the world of Disney first. And as I mentioned earlier on, if you fancy some Disney magic without really leaving the UK-only Disney cruises have gone officially on sale today. They weren't actually on sale earlier on this week for people who've been on Disney cruises before. The prices, I think, look a little bit expensive. I won't be going on one. Also, as well, you need both vaccinations. If you're over 18, you need to be 7 days clear of having your COVID vaccinations before you can step foot on those boats. And also, Disney Cruise just this week unveiled the latest cruise liner from the company, the Disney Wish. The 5th cruise ship and the biggest was unveiled yesterday. And to the parks, the excitement was beyond control last weekend. The People Mover, the Tomorrowland Transit, was back in action. It hasn't been up and running since the parks reopened last year, but it's back, and we don't know why. We love the People Mover. One of my favourites. Love the People Mover. It's back up and running now. Also, more changes been announced for the Jungle Cruise. We know it's getting a bit of a makeover to bring it up to date into the 21st century. Trader Sam, at the end, he's gone. However, there is still the trademark of Trader Sam. There's a little gift shop that you can see. You can't get off the boat and purchase things from the gift shop. It's just part of the story, but Trader Sam's gift shop is now what you'll see at the end of Jungle Cruise. Magic Mobile has been launched for Android phones. This is so you can use your phone instead of your Magic Band. You can still use a Magic Band as well, but if you've got an iPhone, you could use it. Now it's been extended out to use on Android phones as well. In the Orange County, the mayor has announced plans to change the COVID-19 executive order. Now, these changes could affect capacity levels at the theme parks. Phase 1, which is effective straight away, means that physical distancing requirements is being reduced from 6 feet to 3 feet. Phase 2 will begin when 50% of the Orange County population over the age of 16 has had their first dose of the vaccine, which could be within the next 3 or 4 weeks, which will have an effect on the requirements to wear masks outdoors. Obviously, Walt Disney World do not have to go with these rules. They can make their own rules, and it's always safety first when it comes to Walt Disney World. So it could mean that an increased capacity over the next couple of weeks, but I think wearing masks at the parks is going to be with us for quite some time. Although there has been a little bit of normality creeping back into the theme parks. We mentioned on the last podcast that you can now take your face mask off to have a photograph if you're outside. Also as well now, the self-service drinks machines are back up and running. So if you want to get your soft drinks, you got your refillable mug previously before you had to take it and somebody would have to do it for you. Cast member would do it for you. Now, a little bit more normality. You can get up and you can get as much pop as you like. And finally, if you'd like some more Walt Disney World magic this week, then this weekend on American TV, American Idol comes from Walt Disney World. You'll be able to see that episode with all the finalists paying a visit with their families to the Magic Kingdom and beyond. You can see it on Netflix over the next few days here in the UK. And don't forget, you can keep up with all the Walt Disney World news over on our socials, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We are at PodMagical. That's what Laura did. She's on the podcast this week. We were talking before about, you like to eat at some of the restaurants around Orlando. What about eating in the parks? Have you got anything particularly you love to eat in the parks?
I don't tend to eat in many of the restaurants when we go, because that's precious park time that I could be riding rides or watching parades or shows. I'm more of a snacker in the parks. I love a Mickey pretzel. Can't get enough. I would eat them all day, every day for breakfast, lunch, dinner. There's big chunks of salt. They're just amazing.
And you can. There's nothing stopping you when you're on holiday. If you want 3 meals a day,
exactly.
Mickey pretzels, every one, fine.
And the colossal cinnamon roll that you get in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, yes.
It's amazing. That,
Yes.
I would eat one of them every day, given the
I am
chance.
dreaming of that right now.
Yeah, no matter how many times I try to recreate it at home, it's not the same.
You can't, can you? And then you'll go somewhere, you'll see a cinnamon roll, and you go, I'm going to have that. It's going to take you back. And then, no, it's not. I know it's not Mickey
just
shaped,
reminds
but it
me that I'm not there.
just depress you even more.
Yeah.
And what about quick service restaurants? You've got any particular quick service restaurants you say you'd like to go to?
In Magic Kingdom, is it Columbia Harbour House? Is that one?
I can't say it. You say it. You say it.
Is it Columbia Harbour House?
Columbia Harbour House. Yeah.
Is that the
not
quick
Columbo's.
service? Not Columbo's.
Columbo's Harbour House. It's nothing to do with Columbo. Yes, it's kind of like fish and chips, but they're not quite fish and chips.
Yeah, I really like that. I mean, I like theme park food, so I like fries and chicken tenders and hot dogs. That's kind of part of the joy for me, is eating that food every day.
Do you like theme park pizza? That's the question.
I've never had it.
Oh, right, because it's usually quite bad.
Yeah,
unless
I think
it's
that's
like the
probably
pizza
why.
at Epcot.
I've not had it. Actually, we've eaten in Via Napoli.
Good pizza there, though. That's fine.
Yeah, it was delicious.
That,
yeah.
I never class that as theme park pizza.
No.
Do you have any guilty pleasures when it comes to Walt Disney World? Stuff that we can admit on this podcast, because we're all Disney friends, we're all Disney World fans, but you would not talk to people in the street.
I don't tend to hide my Disney nerdiness and love of all things that other people might find cringy. I mean, I wore a Peter Andre headband, so I'm not...
Well, yeah. Where else can you go after that?
I don't really have anywhere else to go, yeah.
Are you one of these people that likes to plan your outfits as well before you go?
I'm not, like, over the top. I just pick, like, a certain set of ears for a certain park. So I have Tower of Terror ears that I wear to Hollywood Studios. And then...
Oh, yeah. You can't wear those, like, on Animal Kingdom Day.
No, exactly. I've got some Little Mermaid ears that I would normally wear to the Magic Kingdom. But I feel like the Hollywood Tower of Terror. Just the Tower of Terror ears work everywhere. And I always get loads of compliments on those.
Big fan of those.
Yeah.
Do you venture outside the Disney bubble? Do you go to the other theme parks as well?
We do.
Favourites? What do you like to do?
I love Universal. Last time we only did Universal and Disney. And we stayed on site at Universal for the first time. So I'm a convert to that as well.
Oh, right. Where did you stay at Universal?
We stayed at the Hard Rock. It was beautiful. We weren't in the room much. We were out in the parks, and then we did Halloween Horror Nights. And that's why we stayed, so we could stay up all night at Halloween Horror Nights and then not have far to go after.
Yeah, you can just walk back then, can't you?
Yeah, and that's the second time we've done Halloween Horror Nights, so now I always would plan my trips around September, October to make sure we can go to that.
Do you do the Mickey's Not So Scary as well? Or
Yeah,
is that not
I
scary
did
enough for you?
that. Last time we did a family holiday, we did that. So I said my sister stopped coming with us on family holidays, but that was only while she was a teenager. Now she's older. She likes to come on them
she's
again.
back again now.
Yeah, she's back again. So we had
Just
like
realised the error
our
of her
first
ways.
family holiday together was like in 2015, and she was in her 30s and I was in my late 20s or whatever, however old we were.
Yeah.
She's cool again now. She thought she was cool as a teenager, but she's now actually cool again, and she wasn't. She comes
Missing out on a Disney holiday is not cool. That's
Exactly.
the uncoolest thing you could do.
Exactly. So yeah, so I'm hoping maybe next time we go, she'll be able to come with us again. She lives in Australia, so
Oh, right.
hopefully we'll meet up in Florida and have a holiday there.
So what other perks do you get when you're staying at the Hard Rock, when you're staying at a Universal hotel? Because obviously with the Disney hotels, you've got the perks of the transport and fast passes when they have them.
Yes.
What do you get?
Early entry to the parks. I can't remember whether it's both parks or if it's the same as like there's one park on one day and one another. I think it was like 2 hours or an hour before the park opens to the general public.
Yeah.
But the main thing is you get fast pass, express pass they call it, for all of the rides, I think excluding Hagrid's, and probably the Velocicoaster will be excluded too, I imagine.
The new one.
Yeah, and they're unlimited, so you can get as many fast passes on every ride as you want.
Oh, right. So that's not like the Disney one where you get 3 and then you top up after each one. You just express pass for every ride all day.
Yep, and it's totally worth the money. Because I think you can buy an express pass, but it only gives you one ride on each ride.
Yeah.
It's much more expensive than I would probably be willing to pay just outright, just to get one fast pass for each ride. But the hotels are a little bit pricey, but they're not, I'd say, like same as like a moderate Disney.
But I mean, if you're only going to be there for a couple of nights, you can probably, with those fast passes, with those express passes,
you can do everything.
You can do everything. So you'd only need a couple of nights there, wouldn't it? And then you can go back to maybe iDrive or wherever if you're doing Disney. You can balance it out that way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Budget yourself out, spread yourself out. When it comes to Halloween Horror Nights, are there any kind of express passes for that, or do you just have to go and queue?
No, you can get express passes for that. So what We did the first time. We didn't book any, but if you are in the park for the day, so you have to have a pass, like a ticket for the parks anyway. If you're in the park on the day of the Halloween Horror Night, you get put in like a holding pen while they close the park and get it ready for Halloween Horror Nights, and then they'll let you out. So I think we were in like the Simpsons area, and we just got some food and sat there and waited for an hour or whatever. I don't know if it was even an hour, and then they let you out, and that gives you a little bit of a jump on the people who are coming from the entrance to get in some of the houses before they all get there. And I think we managed to do like 4 of the houses within about,
I was going to say,
40 minutes.
You need to know which ones get really busy. And I guess you just head to that one, like when they had the Stranger Things, I guess, and that was one that everybody flocked to. So you're in the park and you've got a head start.
To be in that holding area that lets you out near those houses.
Yeah.
And then we did actually buy an express pass later in the evening, because after an hour or two, everything has an hour and a half queue, pretty much. We went to buy them and they were, I'm making this number up now, $75 for the express pass. But if you waited until 10 p.m, they dropped down to like $50 or something. So we were like, okay, well, we'll just wait. We'll do another house and then we'll get them. And then that meant we could finish all of the houses and all of the attractions with that fast pass at a lower cost.
Yeah, that's good to know, because you might end up going and it's actually not a busy night. So you might just be able to do all the houses. Yeah. Whereas if you've got that option, go, okay, we've done 6 or 7, but we're not going to get these others done. But if you can get that cheaper and then just finish off the ones you're not done, that's good. Yeah,
so that's what we did. Then last time we just bought them, I think, at the beginning of the night, because we didn't stay in the park because I think I had a migraine, and I was like, I have to stay in the park because otherwise we're going to miss the first part. And I was like, but you know, when you feel like your head's exploding. So we had to go back to the room and have a rest, and then we went in and we were like, we'll just buy fast passes and do everything, because we're only here for one day. We actually did a road trip around Florida, so we were only in Orlando for I think 6 days or 7 days, so we only had a few days to do Universal and Disney in total.
So where else did you go on that trip?
We went to the Keys. We stayed in, I think it was Marathon Key, and we drove down to Key West, and then we drove across to Naples. Then we drove up the coast there and went to swim with the manatees at Crystal River, and then drove to Orlando, and then we drove to Fort Lauderdale and had a few days on the beach there, and then came home.
Were you glad that you did that, or was part of you going, I wish we'd had more days in the theme park? Or were you going, I've done the theme parks, I just want to see a bit more of Florida?
I mean, I could always take more days in the theme parks. No, I loved it. I loved driving around, and I loved swimming with the manatees, and I loved seeing different parts of Florida. And it was quite nice to have the Fort Lauderdale bit after the parks, especially because we only had a few days. We just crammed everything in and didn't have any rest really. So it was nice to then just go to a beach for a few days and just sort of
having those
relax.
Beach days to recover.
Yeah.
It's like a real holiday then, isn't it?
Yeah.
As opposed to the all-intensive Disney rope drop to fireworks.
Yeah, and I'm very much one of those people that doesn't want to waste time.
Yeah. It's good to have that little balance. So next time, you think maybe next year, or we'll see how things go?
See how things go, but yeah, in the next couple of years, hopefully. I'd like to try and get one last family holiday altogether. My dad turned 70 next year, so in his head he wanted to do like a last family holiday.
Could go for his 70th.
I mean, he did suggest a villa in Portugal, but I was like, well, we could do a Disney holiday.
That's not a holiday, Portugal.
Yeah, we've done that.
What about a villa in Florida?
Exactly. And then I got carried away recently and started looking at DVC, and then I thought, no.
I suppose you could rent points.
Yeah, that's something I've been looking at.
Yeah, nice big places. Definitely worth doing. Let us know when you go and what you booked and how much it's cost, because we like to be nosy when it comes to all these things, Laura.
Yes, of course.
Lovely chatting to you, and have a magical day.
Yes, you too. Thank you very much.
If you'd like to join me on the podcast, one episode for a bit of a chat, do get in touch. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram is where we are. And we can talk about Walt Disney World together. Doesn't matter the last time you went. The top tip for this episode, and I feel like I've mentioned this before, but as it's been over a year since any of us in the UK have actually been able to go over to Orlando for Walt Disney World, I thought this was worth mentioning again, especially if, when we do get to go back, fast passes aren't back. The queues for the rides are going to be longer than expected, so some of the more popular rides might be really busy throughout the day, but they will be a little bit quieter when the fireworks are on. You're thinking, yeah, but I've got to see the fireworks. Yeah, I'm like that as well. I always feel like the end of every Disney night has to end with Happily Ever After or Fantasmic or the fireworks at Epcot, but you know, if it's going to be really busy throughout the day, how about watching the fireworks once, and then the next time you go back to that park where everybody else is watching the fireworks, get on some of those classic attractions that have been busy throughout the day. Maybe you want to go on Splash Mountain or Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, because they're always really good at night as well. So top tip for this episode is, it's controversial, but when everybody else is watching the fireworks or Fantasmic or whatever, why don't you do some other rides? Of course, if you've got any top tips you want to share, you can always get in touch. Also, if you want to be on the podcast, same place to go, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, @PodMagical is where we are. Make sure you've subscribed to the podcast as well. We have new episodes every other Friday, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hit that subscribe button, then you don't miss a single episode. And until next time, please stand clear of the doors.